Knowing this, the king threatened Ibere, warning her that if she ever spoke about the pregnancy, she would be killed and no one would ever find her body. Ibere, fearing for her life, remained silent. Once upon a time, in a village called Umunze, there was a wicked king named King Ibere. He ruled the land with an iron fist, showing no mercy to the people. Under his reign, life was tough. He taxed the villagers heavily, forcing them to give up most of their harvest, leaving them with barely enough to eat. The elders in the village tried to reason with him, but King Ibere refused to listen. He had no heart for the people he ruled. King Ibere was a man filled with pride and power. He thought nothing could touch him, for he had the protection of the strongest warriors and the respect of the feared Ezemo, the native doctor. The people trembled before him, and anyone who dared speak against him was either imprisoned or worse. But unknown to the villagers, King Ibere had a dark secret. One night, he had called his maid Ibere to his chambers. Ibere was a poor young girl who had been working in the palace for many years. She was humble and kind, known by everyone in the village for her quiet nature. King Ibere, blinded by his lust, forced himself on Ibere that night. When she realized she was pregnant a few months later, fear gripped her heart. In Umunze, it was a great taboo for the king to have any relations with his servants. If the truth were ever discovered, King Ibere would be banished from the land. Knowing this, the king threatened Ibere, warning her that if she ever spoke about the pregnancy, she would be killed and no one would ever find her body. Ibere, fearing for her life, remained silent. As the months went by, Ibere's belly began to grow and whispers started spreading in the village. Isn't that King Ibere's maid? How could she be pregnant? The people began to wonder. The rumors reached the palace, but King Ibere denied everything. He ordered Ibere to stay hidden in the palace, away from the prying eyes of the villagers. But secrets have a way of revealing themselves. One day, Ibere could no longer bear the burden alone. The shame, fear, and guilt weighed heavily on her heart. She confided in her best friend Chika, who was a trusted palace worker. "I can't hide this any longer," Ibere whispered through her ears. "The king is the father of my child." Chika was shocked. She knew the consequences of such an act, but promised Ibere she would keep her secret. However, the guilt of knowing such a terrible truth was too much for Chika to bear. Slowly, she began to tell a few trusted friends, thinking that the news would not be spread far. But like wildfire, the secret began to leak through the village. Before long, the whole village was buzzing with the news. The king has broken the sacred law, people murmured. The elders called a meeting, and even the Ezemo, the native doctor, was summoned. The people were furious, for if the king himself could disobey the sacred laws, how could the villagers be expected to follow them? At the meeting, the elders spoke of the ancient laws passed down from their forefathers. No king, no matter how powerful, is above the law, one elder said, his voice shaking with anger. Ezemo, with his deep booming voice, agreed. The gods will not overlook this. If we allow the king to remain on the throne, the land will be cursed. We must act, Ezemo said. Fear began to creep into King Ibere's heart as the whispers reached his ears. He knew that once the villagers and Ezemo had turned against him, there was no escape. He tried to silence the people by sending his warriors to threaten them, but it was too late. The people were united and their minds were made up. The following day, the villagers gathered in front of the palace. Ezemo stood before the crowd, his staff in hand. The elders were by his side, and Ibere, though afraid, stood at the back, holding her belly. She knew that her child would grow up without a father, but she also knew that the truth had to come out no matter the consequences. King Ibere, Ezemo called out in a loud voice, "You have broken the sacred law of our land. You have not only wronged the people, but you have also disrespected the gods. For this, there is only one punishment. You must be banished from Umunze forever." The crowd roared in agreement, and King Ibere, seeing that his time was up, tried to plead for mercy. But the people had suffered enough under his rule. They were tired of his cruelty, his greed, and now his betrayal of their sacred customs. With no other choice, King Ibere fled the village, never to return again. The people celebrated, knowing that justice had been served. Ibere, though saddened by what had happened, found peace, knowing that the truth had set her free. From that day on, the villagers learned a powerful lesson. No one is above the law, not even a king. And the truth, no matter how hard it is to tell, will always find its way out. As the villagers returned to their daily lives, they made sure to teach their children the importance of honesty, fairness, and respect for the laws of the land. They knew that these values were what kept the village strong, and that any leader who failed to uphold them would eventually face the consequences, just as King Ibere had. And so the story of King Ibere was passed down from generation to generation, serving as a reminder that power without the wisdom and respect for the people is a dangerous thing.